Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Bill Sutton.
And I'm Jason Sutton.
And we got a lot of fun things to talk about this week.
Let's start off with our quick shout out to our new Patreon, Dan Sutton.
Great.
It is a family member, but still,
It's
much
a Patreon.
appreciated.
Yes.
And for everybody else out there, if you go to patreon.com, Sutton Impact Family Style, we need the support. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll give you a shout out and we'll answer your questions. And now on with the rest of the show.
So one of the first things I want to talk about in our business section is colleges are really adding esports. And there's now 34 colleges that offer college scholarships.
Wow.
For gaming teams. So Jace, just think about it. If you could go back in the DeLorean, you could be a college athlete.
I know.
Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Maybe I'll try to go back to school now.
And I think it's going to do nothing but grow and grow and grow. And one of the reasons I think it's going to grow is that, as we know, all athletic departments receive funds from student activity fees. And we all know that students are going to fewer sporting events. So if the athletic departments want to keep those fees, they're going to have something that the students are going to want to be involved in. And I think it's going to be esports. So I think it's going to continue to grow. I think we're going to see conference championships. I think we're going to have a national championship all within the next 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, I'd say for me, that's slightly shocking. Even as somebody that absolutely loves video games, adores video games, I never thought we'd see it to this level. I thought it would sort of level off and just sort of peter. I thought it had a very low ceiling for me, but obviously I was completely wrong on that aspect.
Well, Cal Irvine's actually even selling sponsorships for their teams from $2,500 to $100,000. Didn't you get involved? I mean, it's just amazing where it's going to go, and it's going to keep going. It's going to be televised as League of Legends and Overwatch and all these other games continue to grow in popularity and continue to be fascinating to people. It's just going to grow and be more and more interested in it. I know you can major in creating video games now, so there's a number of ways to tie this together.
How much of it do you think has to do with the fact that, like, the average person could never beat LeBron James?
No.
Couldn't be Serena Williams.
No.
You're not going to be LeBron, a 6'8", 260-pound, incredibly fast athlete. But
No.
you could.
But you could. But
I mean, granted, I don't want to take away from their hand-eye coordination and their dedication. I know, I mean, like I said, I know how much work athletes actually put into their game. Like, it's a full-time job playing a video game. But at the same time, it is something that an armchair quarterback could at least argue. If I put in that amount of time, maybe, and even then, the door's open for him to attempt that.
yeah, I mean, there are superstars. There's a guy named Fox, and there's a couple other guys that are like world renowned, and I mean they're getting rich on this, and their personalities, and I think that'll only continue to grow. I think as long as people are looking for the next thing, this looks like the next thing. This is something that I would invest in. I think it's that serious about this.
Wow.
Yeah. So let's talk about something I wouldn't invest in, and that's Big Baller Sports.
Big Baller Brand, BBB.
Yep.
LeVar Ball once again in the news, and this time he took Big Baller Brand to Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and I think Reebok. And everyone turned him flat down with his offer. They didn't want to be in business with him, even in the least. And part of it, I mean, it seems obvious on their part.
Yeah, very obvious.
Besides the fact that he's kind of a nut. He has 3 sons, and none of them are proven.
No. And he doesn't want an endorsement. And he wants
A full partnership.
And license his shoe, which means a sizable investment of a shoe that they might not have any confidence in, that they've got to put their marketing and everything out of dollars behind. And you have a player that played 1 year in college, and you could argue that he was good but not great.
Right. The last time we saw him on a national stage, De'Aaron Fox made him look terrible, crushed him.
And as we said on this show, to me, he looked like he didn't want to be playing.
Right.
I mean, he just didn't look like that. But I just don't think anybody is going to jump at the chance to go into business with LeVar Ball. I mean, you want a partner, you don't want a dictator. And he's obviously not a partner.
No, and he's also putting the cart before the horse. I mean, he brought up, what if Tiger, what if Jordan had got into the same sort of deal he's proposing? And they had to become Tiger. They had to become Jordan.
Yeah.
Before they got to even get to a level where you wouldn't discuss having a separate brand. Obviously there's Jordan brand, but it's a subsidiary of Nike. And I don't recall what Tiger's brand is called. Is it just Tiger?
Yes, Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods. But I mean, they didn't just jump out of the gate. It wasn't like, here's this phenom, I'm going to give him a partnership.
No.
They had to earn it through, And again, the other business of selling athletic shoes. I mean, you look over the years. Outside, I mean, Michael Jordan is still the top selling basketball shoe.
Sure.
And he hasn't played a game in decades.
And I saw last week that Under Armour was reporting that the sale of the Steph Curry shoe has been less than it hoped for.
Right. And Steph Curry.
That's Steph Curry.
That's Steph Curry.
It's not Ball. It's Steph Curry.
And Steph Curry, I would have to say, is one of the most popular basketball players in my lifetime. Like, genuine. I mean, it seems like the majority of people that don't like Steph Curry are Russell Westbrook and a few other NBA players. Mm-hmm. But it seems like, in general, in the public eye, people just adore him.
Yeah.
But they're not wearing his shoe. They're not buying his shoe.
And is that because they don't believe in Under Armour shoes, or they don't, maybe they're just not buying athlete indoor shoes anymore?
I think that could be part of it.
It could be. It's hard to say. I just think that he is so off-putting that people aren't even going to hear him out. Even if he has a good idea now, I don't think people are going to hear him out because he's just been this blustering. We call him a black Donald Trump of entrepreneurship. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't seem like he wants to be partners. He wants to do it his way, and he wants you to write the check for him to do it his way.
Right.
Just like Trump wanting to build a wall in Mexico, and Mexico pay for it.
And he wants you to invest in his two sons that one is just going to college, and the other one's still in high school.
Yeah.
Assuming, and again, we have no idea how LeVar Ball is even, or Lorenzo Ball. I get involved. Too many L balls. How he's even going to perform as a professional basketball player.
No.
And I'm beginning to wonder now, too, as he just continues this, tyrannical rants that he goes on all the time and all these different things. Like, will that affect the draft stock of the basketball player?
It's going to be really interesting to see.
Because if I'm looking at him, I'm looking at a dad that I'm going to have to deal with him. Mm-hmm. He's automatically now become part of the package.
Yeah.
And you look at, the way coaches are like, the last thing I want is a distraction. I don't want to direct, nobody wanted Tim Tebow as a backup quarterback because they didn't want the distraction of Tim Tebow. And
you saw Ball throwing UCLA teammates under the bus.
Right.
Son didn't do it. Father did. And, is a pro coach going to put up with that? I mean, you know how we are in society right now. He'll sell papers. He'll get ratings. And, I mean, if he's in your market and he's critical of your coach, he's going to say it. And you're going to have a story the next day. It's not going to be a positive story.
No. There was a story that came out in the paper today that the guy that took over for his son's high school team went 33-3 last year. And he got fired. And the coach has made it pretty clear that Lorenzo Ball is the reason he got fired. Lorenzo Ball is denying any sort of, he's like, I didn't think the guy was ready as a coach. I didn't think he was a good coach.
LeVar Ball?
LeVar Ball, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry to the Ball family. The eldest Ball. The Patreon, the Pat.
Switching gears, the last thing I want to talk about on the business side was the NFL taking the draft to Philadelphia. Obviously, there is a market for the draft coming to an NFL market outside of New York. Putting it on the road, doing a road show. I mean, there were 70 to 100,000 people there each day. It was incredible. And I think that there are going to be cities that bid for this just like they bid for the Olympics because they weren't all local. They were people traveling from all over the country to come support their team.
And it was incredible to watch.
It was incredible to watch. They put on a good show. So kudos to the NFL for getting that one right because I think they've got a home run there. And I don't see any less than 3 or 4 cities asking for it next year. It's going to be an event. And I remember years ago in the early 90s, the NBA did the same thing with the NBA draft. And all of a sudden they stopped doing it. I remember going to the NBA draft in Indianapolis. And it was a really popular event. And then they stopped doing it. They brought it back to TV. So I don't know.
The NFL draft has a hold on people, a hold on fans like nothing else. I mean, people are as intrigued by the 7th round pick. I mean, I myself as a Steeler fan.
Yeah.
I watched every single Steeler pick. And then second they signed...
Even the 6th round long snapper?
Even the 6th round long snapper and the undersized, too slow to play defensive end linebacker in the 7th round. And the second they were announced, I jumped on a Bleacher Report so I could read the 9 undrafted free agents they signed, none of whom I'd ever heard of.
Yeah.
Just to see if there was some sort of gem. And then again, like everybody else, too, I also checked all the grades.
Yeah.
And, I mean, as we've proven year after year after year, the grades are rarely, if ever, right.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, you look at the last few years, you know, you got your Trent Richardsons, your Jarvis Mingos, you know, your top 5 busts.
Any quarterback the Browns drafted.
Sorry, Deshaun Kaiser, looking bad for you now. And then you've got, you know, obviously your 6th round wonders of Tom Brady's and Antonio Brown's.
Yeah.
And guys that, you know, you would just... So, I mean, it's incredibly inexact science from an armchair outsider's perspective. And I don't know why I put any credence into a Mel Kiper grade. But I do look at it.
But, you know...
I do see how he graded the other teams and then get annoyed that my team got a B-. And again, he's been... I mean, like, if you look at it, it's not like he's been very accurate with his draft picks.
No, but look how many other Mel Kipers there are now.
I know.
I mean, was it Mark Mayock?
Mike Mayock. I mean, there's obviously Todd McShay on, you know, Mel's counterpart, who they just seem to have a really... It seems like they have a genuine dislike of each other.
Because one is Mel's rival. It's his own TV show.
Yeah.
But anyhow, the NFL bringing it on the road, that looks like that's going to be the model. And, you know, I'll be excited when it comes to Tampa.
And again, when you actually watch it, it's kind of incredible that you got 100,000 people to go watch it live.
Yeah.
It's people sitting on phones for 15 minutes till they run up there and they announce a name. And then people break it down and tell you why it was a good pick or a bad pick, regardless of whether it is or isn't.
But they're quick with the video. So you get to see more. And I did enjoy it. I watched quite a bit of it. The other night I was watching the Pirate game, and I had my iPad open, and I was tracking the draft picks.
And the one nice thing they did this year is they didn't allow them to announce it on Twitter first.
Yeah.
Like they did the previous years.
Yeah,
that does sort of spoil it. They made sure that the first time you heard it was when Roger Goodell or whichever celebrity from each team was up there announcing the pick. That was the first time you got to hear the pick, which was nice. Because as much as you can say, I don't want to cheat and look ahead, it's hard not to look ahead when you know where the answers are.
You know what's my favorite moment of the draft? When Milo and Mandy Moore from This Is Us made the pick in Steeler headquarters, made the 4th pick. I love that. I love that show, and I love that way of bringing it and making it real.
It was very nice. And they went around. I mean, I know the Walking Dead guys were on for the Los Angeles Rams pick.
Yeah.
And they tried to incorporate as many, you know, awkward celebrity cameos as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And different charity groups. And it's...
If you're going to have The Walking Dead, I think they should have been in Cleveland with the Browns.
Well, the Rams are going to give them a run for their money if they continue the way they're going.
And the Joe Mixon pick.
Well, he went, like you said, he went to where?
The Bengals.
Where he can still wear stripes.
That's it. You wear stripes for a reason in Cincinnati, on and off the field.
And I must admit, when I saw his press conference, and I didn't really see what I guess I wanted to see. As somebody that likes to give second chances, I didn't. And again, I know that's probably unfair to like watch somebody in a press conference, which is a very awkward situation. But I expected something a little more moving, a little more sincere, a little more contrite. And again, I know it's terrible to be an armchair judge, just like an armchair quarterback. But it wasn't what I expected to see.
Well, he thinks Pac-Man Jones is a cool dude that's going to show him around. So let's see how that works out.
And Montez Burfict and everybody else on that team.
Oh, my. So what's next, Jace?
Well, we have a new segment, and we are going to introduce a question segment. So you can hit us up on Twitter. You can hit us up on pretty much any form of social media. You can send us an email. Hit us up on Patreon, and we'll answer your question. Our question this week, we only have one because we're still a new show, and we're working the best we can to make more people. But Dan in Los Angeles didn't even make the name up.
So what does he want to know?
He wants to know our thoughts on the ESPN layoffs. All 100 of them. Well,
it's a complicated thing. I mean, I did a poll in my class one day, and I said, who has cable? The answer was, I think it was 1 out of 28. It still has cable, pays for cable. Everybody else streams. Everybody else has already cut the cord. I think you combine that with the fact that Disney owns ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney, if you ever seen the price of theme tickets go up every year, I think they think the same thing with ESPN. They treat it like part of that business. And I think they're charging significantly more for ESPN now than ever. And people are just saying, hey, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm not going to spend that kind of money for that. So you have that. And so you have those factors, and then the mouse saying, okay, we got to cut some things. And I think what I'm the most upset about is they cut talented journalists, people that I was interested in, like Jason Stark. I mean, Jason Stark can put together a coherent argument on things. He's a great writer. He's very insightful, very passionate about baseball. And they cut him, and excuse me, and they keep that travesty known as SportsCenter AM. Mm-hmm. And it just drives me crazy. I mean, I am much less fond of ESPN this week than I was a week ago. Much less.
I think about my history with ESPN. Like, it's obviously it was the first place to go for sports. Mm-hmm. It was the website I checked. It was one of the first 3 websites I went to every morning. And one of the first things they did that sort of pushed me away from them is they put up that paywall with ESPN Insider.
Yep.
And, I mean, that's obviously their prerogative to do whatever they want to do. But all of a sudden, I'm like, every time I go to click on an article, it's like, you need to subscribe to ESPN Insider. It's whatever it is a month, X number of dollars. And maybe it was market value, maybe it wasn't, I don't really know. But all I know is all of a sudden I found Bleacher Report. Mm-hmm. I found, as terrible as it is, Yahoo Sports. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden they pushed me from this is the place I go to get my ESPN. This is where I go to get my sports. It was almost like Kleenex.
Yeah.
I was like, where do I go to get sports? I go to ESPN. And outside of a specific Pittsburgh Steeler website, just for Steeler fans, I got all my national news from ESPN. They put up that insider wall, and all of a sudden, I was a college student. I can't afford to pay for that. So I bounced around. I found some other sites. Mm-hmm. I found some other journalists that I like. I found ways to get the stories they were telling over here for free, mm-hmm. which is the way the internet is. And I wasn't stealing.
No.
I just found alternative sources. The other thing I feel like they did, and this is, I'm going to assume that they know what they're doing ratings-wise. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it seemed like when I first started watching ESPN, it was kind of a loose, fun show. And it was a little bit off the rails, like a tiny bit. Like, it was still a very corporate show, but it seemed like they let the personality sort of, have a little more fun.
Yeah.
And then it felt very canned. It felt very much like, there was no improv, no person that was like, you're allowed to say this, you're not allowed to say this. And then obviously, since the mouse has taken over, it's become a place to promote Marvel movies and sitcoms and other celebrities where they come on and they give their opinions about sports, which I know we live in a celebrity culture. People are obsessed with celebrities. They love it. But, I don't want to watch a celebrity that really doesn't like sports or, have to go fake 20 minutes of sports conversation to promote whatever the next ABC sitcom is. Just to sort of get them in, shoehorn them in for these weird... And then obviously we talked about it before. They went from as much as sports news can be sports news to sports gossip.
And sports lists.
And again, with the last purge, they got rid of some of the people that I enjoyed. And, again, like somebody like Bill Simmons, who I know is a little bit polarizing, and he, like I said, I think a few episodes ago I said something about him that wasn't super nice, but like I said, I still read Bill Simmons. I love Bill Simmons. I listen to his podcast. I followed him over to, The Ringer. And now, again, it's just I don't have to go to ESPN anymore.
No.
And now I find that, I rarely go to ESPN. Because, again, if I want to see what Mel Kiper thought about the draft, it's not for free. Where every other site will give you the draft grades for free.
Right.
So that sort of pushed me further and further away from ESPN.
So now they're making Baseball Tonight as a weekly show rather than a nightly show. They get rid of the baseball personality, so of course now people will, we have an outlet, we'll go to MLB Network.
Right.
And that's probably where I should have gone anyhow for my MLB things. I hope Jason Stark ends up on the MLB Network. But I've got less and less interest in following on ESPN now. For SportsCenter now, I want to watch before 8 o'clock. So I want to watch, I'm happier watching the rerun of the Neil Everett show from the night before than I am watching the new show at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And so I watch it because I'm at the gym. If I'm home, I don't even turn it on.
Yeah. That's pretty much my only ESPN consumption is on the treadmill. Because I've only got 12 channels to choose from at the gym. And again, most of the time I have my headphones on and listen to music while I watch sports highlights. But that's about it.
Yeah.
So those are our thoughts on the ESPN layoffs. And again, we feel bad for anybody that obviously was a victim of that or whatever that would be
There's
considered.
some really talented people, and I hope they find another good spot for their pulpit.
Hopefully they will. The other thing I want to talk about, a little NBA playoffs.
I was pretty happy to see Utah win today.
I was very happy to see Utah win today.
And that's the first time I watched Utah all year. I didn't even know who half those guys were.
I've got to watch quite a bit of Utah. Like I've always liked Joe Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So ISO Joe, I'd like to see him back.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of NBA people, the Clippers have just always rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Chris Paul has done a few too many nut shots and some other things along the years that just, as great a player as he is, and I can't take that away from him. He's incredibly efficient. He's a fantastic point guard, but he's done enough of those, bending the rules sort of things and breaking the rules sorts of things that I've never enjoyed him. I've always found Blake Griffin to be a little whiny. And I didn't mind seeing him go. And I think that's probably the last time we're going to see that trio of DeAndre Jordan.
But let's say that. Let's think about that for a minute. The Larry Bird rule in the NBA, they can pay a lot more for you to stay than somebody else to bring you. Although we've learned from LeBron that you just don't sign a 5-year deal, you sign a 1-year deal.
Right.
And then you re-out, and then you're free agent again. Then they can pay you what they want to pay you. Even though the agreement was probably there the year before. He just didn't announce it, whatever it is. But I'll be curious to see if they stay there. Because, when you've been at that level for so long, you're not going to win.
No, but it seems like it's pretty clear that after the first round ends, that Doc Rivers is probably on his way out as both GM and coach. If I'm the Clippers, do I want to... I brought this team to the playoffs 6 years in a row,
mm-hmm.
and they go out early 6 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So am I going to bring back a 33 or 34-year-old Chris Paul on a 5-6 year deal?
Nope, I'm not.
Do I want to bring back an injury-plagued Blake Griffin?
Nope.
And again, a Blake Griffin that doesn't do what used to make him special. He's not this take it to the hole every single time, jump over everybody, dunk on people now.
No.
Now he's become a mid-range jump shooter. And again, in today's NBA, he can't stretch the floor, he can't shoot the three, he can't stay on the floor. So unless I can convince some team to do a sign and trade where I'm getting something out of it, I feel like I'm letting him walk.
Yeah, we have to see what happens here and see if Ballmer's going to pay big money, and I don't know.
I don't know where else they go from here.
Well, you would think any one of those guys would help Russell Westbrook. He needs something.
He needs something, and like I said, they can go anywhere they want.
They can go anywhere they want.
I mean, the most intriguing play, which everyone has already agreed that you would never do, but if Chris Paul were to go to Milwaukee
mm-hmm.
and sort of just be the point guard for that,
And I've heard on more than one occasion, Chris Paul's going to go to New Orleans.
Go back home?
Get back home and be with Cousins and
Anthony
Brown.
Davis.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see.
It'd be interesting to see.
Because Anthony Davis is becoming one of those players where, again, he gets hurt quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the stink that's always been on Cousins is he's a good stats on a bad team guy.
Yeah.
And he keeps putting up these incredible numbers, but his teams never win. Yeah. And granted, I don't think Anthony Davis has had great teams around him by any stretch. And he's had some injury troubles, but he's also become, if he's supposedly, this top 5 player in the league, he's not brought a team to the playoffs either. Now, I know this year was kind of tough because you had the big shakeup and new trades and everything else, but I mean, he's a guy that so far has only put on big stats on a good team, or good stats on a bad team.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a reputation he wants to continue to have as they go forward. The other thing I noticed that came back this year in the NBA playoffs that I was going to get your thoughts on, this year was Hackle Roberson.
Mm-hmm.
And just and I don't know if I didn't see it very much with DeAndre Jordan in the Utah series. I don't think they needed it.
No. I didn't see it either,
but just the concept in general. I mean, obviously we talked about Roberson being laughed at for his free throw shooting, and again,
it's within the purvey of the rules. And if you're not going to hit your free throws, and they want you on the floor because you're going to be able to stop James Harden, then you are what you are.
Yeah, I was like, I've always thought that it obviously does interrupt the flow of basketball, and it's not fun to watch. But it makes the most sense, and you have to. I mean, I don't know, admire the strategy, but at least acknowledge that it's a successful strategy. You just.
So we haven't talked about this yet, so I'm going to ask you. Okay, your Steelers' first-round draft pick. How you feel about it?
I want to feel more excited than I am right now. He's one of those guys. Like, I know he was a 2-year player at linebacker. He came as a tight end. He's got the size. From what I could, and again, I'm going with, I became, as much as I complain about analytics to you, I become a big fan of the spark stats, which are sort of your explosive stats. Mm-hmm. And he was not super high on the spark meter. Nor was their second-round pick. No.
And I love the second-round pick, by the way.
Right. He's been their biggest reach, is what everyone keeps saying.
I like it.
The one thing I like about Watt is he looked great last year when his first full year playing linebacker. Mm-hmm. Everyone seems to say that he knows to use his hands. And I think having, the bloodlines are clearly a thing.
Yeah.
And I think if in the offseason, if you're working with J.J. Watt, one of the best pass rushers in football, and I'm sure he's going to help his little brother.
I'm sure he is too.
That I got to like that. And again, the pick that scares me the most is the guy that I predicted, I think, on show 2 or show 3, who the Steelers would pick, Derek Rivers from Youngstown State. The Patriots picked him in the 3rd round. His spark stats were off the charts. And if any other team if he had fallen to the 3rd round and any other team had picked him up, I would have just assumed there were some red flags we didn't see. But now I'm terrified because he's a Patriot.
Which shows you might be a good scout.
Well, I'm just going based on what I read on that line. But anytime the Patriots pick anybody now, other than a wide receiver, because they don't seem to do that very well. But I don't know if they need to, because they just traded for Dante Stallworth.
Yeah.
But I think this leads us into our segment for not everybody in the country, although it should be. It's our Pittsburgh Minute. And we can talk a little Steelers. And, of course, we have to talk about the Penguins, who are up 2-0 again on the Capitals. Did you like the J.J. Watt pick? Or, I'm sorry, T.J. Watt pick.
I liked the T.J. Watt pick. I liked the Juju Smith-Schuster pick. I loved the highlights I saw of him. I liked him when I saw him playing against Penn State. So I'm pretty happy.
I think the one thing people are talking about...
I like the quarterback from Tennessee pick, too.
Right. I think the one thing I would say about Juju is I think he provides something no matter whether Martavis Bryant plays or not. And we hope that he does.
We hope he does.
He provides something that team has been lacking. You got Antonio Brown, he's your number 1. He's going to get double covered. You've got 4 or 5 of these tall, lean speedsters on the outside. Mm-hmm. They can at least take the top off of a defense. But I thought what they've been missing this last couple years is that guy on 3rd and 6. He's only going to get you 6, but he's going to get you 6.
He's Hines Ward.
He's Hines Ward. And Juju Schuster looks like the kind of guy that, he'll go over the middle, he'll catch that ball 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's great at 50-50 balls. He's great at using it. He's a bigger body guy. So it's like, I feel like we have enough guys that could run down the field doing fly routes for 60 yards. But a guy that can make that tough catch. I really wanted to see them go after Brandon Marshall. I don't know if he was ever going to leave New York, because he obviously just moved across town to the Giants.
Yep.
But I thought that was something they were missing. It looks like something he provides. And again, with the T.J. Watt pick, I figure if you're going to get to play with James Harrison, just this insane workout, this is how you treat your body, this is how you're a pro, I'm 40 years old, this is how you do it.
Yeah. No,
along with being J.J. Watt's brother.
I'm pretty stoked.
We did get a Sutton. So we could legitimately buy a Steelers Sutton jersey, and we wouldn't have to make one up online.
No, it could be real.
It could be real. So that's mildly exciting.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. I really like draft. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
So I can talk about food now?
Well, just Sidney Crosby, Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
The young guys. Up 2-0 on the Capitals. Supposedly the best team in hockey.
Won both games on the road.
Pretty convincingly. The Capitals pulled their goalie last night.
Was it 6-2 was the final?
6-2. They had that empty netter at the end.
They head back to the Igloo now.
Where they're 3-0 in the playoffs. They're a much better home team than a road team.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yes, we can move into food talk for sure.
All right, I'm not going to talk about a city now. I'm going to talk about an app. I'm going to talk about Goldbelly. Goldbelly is an app that lets you eat from whatever city you want to eat. So if you're a Pittsburgh guy like us and you want to order Permane Brothers, you just go to Goldbelly and order Permane Brothers. If you want Jim's cheesesteaks from Philly, those are on there. If you want deep dish pizza like Lou Malnati's from Chicago, that's on there. If you want barbecue from Memphis or barbecue from Kansas City or barbecue from the Carolinas or barbecue from Texas, that's on there. If you want crab cakes from Maryland, that's on there. If you want cioppino from San Francisco, that's on there. Bagels from New York, deli meat. It is the absolute best app for food in the world. You can get anything you want and have it in 2 days. Now you pay a little bit more, but you're getting exactly what you want.
And I've got a couple things. I haven't got to try very many from Goldbelly from eating at your house. But it doesn't taste like frozen food.
No.
Like, it's fantastic.
Good. It's good. It's good
It
stuff.
is expensive.
It is expensive.
It's a luxury item you're paying for, but it is.
But if you want to have that party, if you want to have your own tailgate and celebrate your hometown or a team you want to have, a town you want to represent, or you've got friends coming over and you want to give them a good treat, Goldbelly is what I recommend. And they're not a sponsor, although I'd love them to be a sponsor.
Yes, we would love Goldbelly as a sponsor.
Yes.
Especially if they would send us some sort of awesome Goldbelly package every
I think so. A trial.
A trial, just to make sure we could be like, we've tried the cheesesteak. Now we can recommend the cheesesteak.
Yes, we can. And I'd recommend all the ice cream I bought on Goldbelly too.
Not surprising at all.
No.
And I think that's pretty much it for the show this week.
We'll keep following the NBA. Interesting stories.
Some more Major League Baseball next week. Obviously, our Sports Business Minute every week. I don't know if the Pittsburgh Minute will be a minute every single week, but when we have Pittsburgh news, we're going to have to bring up Pittsburgh stuff.
That's who we are.
We can't
don't
deny that.
Apologize for it.
We'll keep it at the end of the show, so if we all of a sudden we say Pittsburgh Minute, if you're really anti-Pittsburgh, if you're one of those New England people, you can obviously turn us off, and we won't take offense. Although you should listen anyway.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll be back on top. The Patriots can't win forever.
And I will go out on a limb here, and I'll say that we will never have a New England moment on our show.
No, we will not.
We will not have a New England moment on our show. So if you're a Patriots fan,
we may begrudgingly give you respect from time to time, just because.
Yes, begrudgingly. And I still think Tom Brady made a deal with the devil. I'm never going to back off that.
It would explain his incredibly charmed life.
Yes.
His model super wife.
Yeah, and I like this girlfriend before that.
His ability to play football forever, seemingly never falling apart.
I will concede he's the greatest quarterback ever to play. That said, I don't like him. All right, this is Bill Sutton signing off. Jason?
Signing off. And remember, please support us on Patreon and subscribe on iTunes.
And please send us questions. We'd love to expand our question section. Have a great week.